Hey, this is Glenn with another episode of Difficult Questions. This one, what are the rules to sex? Both having it and being a sex. This comes on the back of just all of the couple stuff, the celebrity couple stuff, the transgender stuff, the arguing, the just all of the male female and interactions, and also what is male, what is female, why does this bother people, why are people wanting to change this. Just know that I'm going to set out what I think are some rules, and I've been trying to break these rules my whole adult life. And you can challenge these rules. The thing is, they just seem to always come back. So I wanted to kind of lay them out and then start a discussion from there. Obviously, I'm using my own personal experience, so no one gets angry. We can all just look at my interactions and no one has to get mad. And part of that is I live life alone, and I do that on purpose because what I found is partners get anonymity. They get their own life. And when I'm doing all this exploration, if I have someone, then I'm automatically talking about them, and that does not bode well. So just know that I've been fighting these rules my whole life, and I have decided that it's just easier to live life alone. So I'm not a proponent of these rules because I think some of them we deny them. But basically, this is what I've come to the realization. Men have a weakness for sex, and women have a weakness for emotion. They also have a weakness for status. So we'll kind of get into that as well. But basically, the rules for sex are, you give me sex and I will make you feel special. Or from the woman's side, you make me feel special, I'll give you sex. And that's it. We're going to dive into that, but that's as simple as it gets. And we have this knowledge that we play with whenever we interact with the other sex, which gets into transgender and non-binary, because that throws our knowledge out the window. And it's kind of this, for lack of a better term, and I don't want it to be insulting, it's kind of an uncanny valley. Like, I don't know what to do, how to approach the rules that make me feel comfortable, because they make us feel comfortable, even though we don't like them and we deny them. When transgender gets into it, when gender roles start getting challenged, we don't know how to approach each other. What we assume is the norm is no longer an assumption, and that throws us off for good and for bad. So let's get a little more into this. So I think that we have this knowledge that women are emotionally susceptible and are good at and seek emotionally bonding with people. And men are sexually susceptible. And in countries, let's say in the Middle East, where they cover their women up, I think that's an attempt to not have men be weak. You're making one person cover themselves up so their weakness doesn't show. And I think that women will cover their weakness, their weakness to emotionally bond with someone, by not talking to someone that they don't see as worth their time, because they know they can emotionally bond easily, or they have a weakness for emotional emotional bonding. And in the middle of sex, that's also where there's a serious opportunity to emotionally bond. And it has to do with hormones, has to do with closeness, has to do with sharing intimacy. But that's a real dangerous spot for a woman. So, because it makes her not there's a weakness there, and so we're always trying to cover our weaknesses. So it goes into, this is why I think that women, one of the reasons women are hold out on sex, because that's a really emotionally weak spot, and as well as for men, because they're getting what they want, and so it's whatever I need, whatever I can do. We'll also get into that. So I think that men are good at doing things and are weak at sex. Women are good at emotionally bonding and are weak for high status males because they're looking for the best option to bond with. And by high status, this person has a job title, this person is an amazing human being, so they're a rock star. This person has money, so they know they're competent in life, and they can support me, and I can live a comfortable life. And so, men buy cars. Well, women don't care about the cars, but they care about the money and the effort it took to get that car, because if you have that car, then you have money for other things. So it's a status symbol. Men up on stage, I'm going to become a rock star so I can attract women, because women will be attracted to that high status. If someone says I'm amazing, women say, ooh, I want to go meet that person. Men aren't as attracted to status. Men are attracted to beauty. So that's why women show their wares. When we're meeting people, we are showing each other what we have. And I think that women don't necessarily want to show men all the time, but invariably you do. So you are always wrapped into this sexual dynamic. And especially when you're looking to attract a man, to lure a man, that's where we get into the women have the makeup and the boob jobs and the nice clothes and the revealing outfit. Again, it's all to attract the opposite sex, whether we realize it or not, whether we want it at that moment or not. That's kind of what we're doing. And we can deny that. We can say, look, I'm doing it for me. Look, I want to feel pretty. Look, I'm doing it for my girlfriends. Yes, but these are the rules. and we can challenge those rules, but the rules are still there. You're gonna attract men because men are sexually weak. You are showing yourself as a sexual being. You're gonna attract men. Same with men when they're doing things for high status. I have met men, the only reason they are working so hard is so they can attract women. And especially if they're not an attractive human being, if they're overweight, if they're losing their hair, if they don't have these masculine traits that women are physically attracted to, which is there, but it's a notch down, they can raise their status. So I'm going to become this so I can attract women. And again, that doesn't necessarily work for women to become high status. Who are you going to attract? Because men don't necessarily care. They're looking for beauty, which is part of the hierarchy, which is part of the BS, which is part of what we're always fighting. And all of this, by the way, is in a modern equal social dynamic, because I don't want another conversation is about second-class citizenship and women being used, and that's, but right now for this conversation, we're going to talk about an equal prospect and the rules in this equal prospect. And people will argue that it is not equal. And yes, but for right now, this is what we're doing. So as a man, you were looking to sexually bond with an attractive female. And as a woman, you are looking to emotionally bond with a high status male. These are the rules. And for men, it's about what you do. For women, it's about who you're with. Again, you can fight this, but these are the rules. I remember a person I was with, I'm kind of a goofy guy, and she liked the fact that I was a professor. Oh, status, professor. He's a professor. But she did not like the fact that I was a goofy guy, because I, in her mind, in her world, reflected on her. And that goofiness was not high status. I needed to be at this level, professor. I didn't need to be goofy guy. And so I think women gravitate to bonding with someone that is high status. And it's part of biology, right? Because at some point you're going to maybe have a kid, and you're going to need to take care of that kid, and you're going to need someone to take care of you and that kid while you're taking care of that kid. Again, we can fight these rules, but this is what happens. So let's get into sex, the time that we're meeting. So I think, again, in order to attract a man, you are becoming a sexual object, and you're showing off your sexuality, and that attracts men, whether you like it or not. That's what it does. Men will show off their success, their status, in order to attract women. So that's the courting side, right? Are you good enough? Are you hot enough? Are you good enough? Are you hot enough? Right? It's just this. And then once we're in the act of sex, because this is what I think. I don't know, but this is my experience, and this is what I'm thinking. Because sex is men's weakness, it's men's desire. So men are expected to drive the experience. That's how we get into this coercion thing. Men push. I want the sex. You're going to give me the sex. And women are there to be the brakes on the coercion train, right? Or on the sex drive train. So men are in this power position, which is ultimately a status symbol. So women are attracted to power. Again, we can fight this. We can say, no, this is not cool. This is abuse. But these are the rules. It happens over and over again. I can't deny that it doesn't. Should it? You get to fight, right? Should it to different levels? You get to fight. But this happens over and over again. So these are the rules. So in sex, the men push, and the women are the brakes. No. We'll go this far. We're not going to go this far. Oh, I'll do this, but I'm not going to do this, right? And then the consequences afterwards. Again, these are the rules. You can fight them. You can challenge them. You should, maybe, but these are the rules. Women have the children. Women gestate the babies. So ultimately, there's a higher cost for a woman having a sexual experience. And you can say sexual liberation. You can say condoms. You can say man responsibility. Yes, all of that. But ultimately, men don't care as much about getting women pregnant as women care about getting pregnant because it's their body. And again, their body, their choice, all of those arguments. But this is the way it works. And that's another reason why women are more picky. Hey, am I going to put myself in danger to have this guy's kid? He better be high status. He better be someone I can emotionally bond with. You better be someone that is responsible, that is going to be around and help me with this baby. These are all things that go into all of this unconscious play that we're doing. And we're all following these rules. And ultimately, the rules are for having kids and family. We can fight that. Again, I don't have kids. I don't have a family. I fought it. But there are consequences to that. So all of these rules to sex and rules to being part of a sex, man, woman, are to propagate the species, right? And then we get into, well, okay, what about gay people? What about gay people or people too? We're not propagating the species. Transgender, taking hormone therapies, giving up your ability to have kids. You're not propagating the species. Yeah, absolutely, right? We're challenging the rules. We're saying those people are people too. They get to do whatever they want, and it's all good. In the back of our head, though, it's messing with the rules. So that's why some people have problems with it. Some people also have problems with it. I call it this uncanny valley and I don't want to minimize transgender, gay, LGBTQ plus non-binary. They're all human. They're all equal. They're all cool. They get to fight for what they need to feel legitimate, to feel welcomed, to all of that. But it's uncanny, right? So it breaks some of the rules because, well, now are you a man or are you a woman? Should I feel sexually attracted to you? Do you care about status? Do you care about emotion? And depending on the person, it's yes or no or maybe, or I'm picking and choosing. And that blows people's minds. One of the things that I've had difficulties with, and it's my difficulty, and I need to switch my head. It's my problem. I have now at least 5 or 6 people that I've known that are friends, I would consider friends of mine, ex-students that have transitioned. So they are now, I knew them as male or I knew them as female. Now they are switched or queer or in some status that I am not familiar with. What I knew them as, I no longer know them as, but I'm not around them. So that person bond is gone and weird, and it's messing with my head. And so when people transition, I am the most you do what you want person in the world. I'm about the human connection here between you and me, and we're cool and we need to be cool. And this is my priority in life. But because it's so removed from me, I feel a loss. I lost my person that I knew as this. I miss them. And then 2, it's, well, who is this person now? And all of these rules that I know are true are now not true. And I don't know which one applies to which and where. And it's weird. It weirds me out, right? And that's my problem. And I need to fix that in my head. But until I can fix that in my head and give that person respect, I need to come to myself and work on myself and work on what that is, because and how I navigate these rules. So that's, I think, where we're at. These are the rules for sex, both having it and being it. One of the things that throws me off is sometimes people will call me a good man, or we'll talk about a good woman. I was like, well, what is a good woman? What is a good man? And I think it's in some ways following these rules, but in some ways fighting these rules, giving people their autonomy, letting people make decisions for themselves. We want a strong man, but we don't want a man so strong that he's a dictator. We want a sexual woman, but we don't want a woman that is so sexual that that her man isn't enough. We want a woman that is self-directed yet supportive. It's like all these weird balances. We want a man that is high status but approachable, not aloof, doesn't think he's special but is special. All of this stuff is just so wrapped up in these rules that we're all fighting in different ways. And the last thing I have is just a question for you. What are the compromises that you make? Because we can't follow these rules hard and fast, even though in the back of our mind, we're always trying to. And when a couple gets together, I've noticed there have to be compromises in different ways with what different people want. So what are your compromises? What are the rules for you for sex, for being a sex, for having sex? I hope this was interesting. This was a really tough one for me because, again, I hate all of these rules. So as I was coming up with them, I was like, this is BS. This is not, but they're there. They're there. And I wanted to talk about them. I hope this was useful. Thanks.